Welcome to another episode of In the Nude. Today I want to talk about emotions not being the casket you're buried in, but instead the expression of your experience. I word it that way because, man, I don't know about you. Emotions are not something that I love. As a young kid, I decided emotions were a nuisance, obtuse, frustration to not be endured. And I learned how to self-disassociate. Super young, 7. And I lived all of my childhood from then on until somewhere around 20, disregarding feelings. They just took up space. And it was something that I felt like I could opt to do. That may sound crazy. That may not sound crazy. It might sound something like you've done before. I don't know. But I give that non sequitur about emotions to speak to the weight that I feel with them. I felt so much at that time as a kid that it just was an inconvenience because feelings weren't something that I was allowed to take up space. They just got me in trouble. So I pushed them to the side. And even now I struggle with having feelings. I mean, like I have them, but like allowing them. Do you worry about feelings too? Like, do you run away from them? Are you afraid that if you have a feeling, like say you're hurt by someone, sad, frustrated, do you fear the feeling? Do you run away? When you start having feelings, do you start escaping, doom scrolling, watching something, getting busy, working, trying to get perfection, cleaning the house? Do you run away from yourself? First off, it's fair if you do. Most people do. Escaping, running away, getting busy, doing anything but facing the feeling is it's default. Feels safe because feelings can be scary. It's not fun to feel sad. It's not fun to feel frustrated, especially when you can do nothing about it. And we have this fear about these feelings, right? Like fear and discomfort. The discomfort it's not fun to feel it. And the fear it's almost like we're afraid that if we acknowledge it, if we acknowledge the thing in the room, it's going to take over. It's like the tree falling in the woods. If nobody's there, can't be heard. That's how kind of we treat these feelings a lot of the time. It's a normal obvious. Like you can see the people around you escaping, right? Whether it's escaping into shaming another person to try to feel better about themselves, or escaping into scrolling, or escaping into work, or escaping into being the perfect mother, or whatever it is. Where we have these fears associated with the idea that if we acknowledge the fear, it's going to take over. It's kind of silly when you really think about it. But we don't often just sit with it and think about it. We have this feeling and this fear that reside, and then we just act without thought. I'm guilty of it. It's not fun. It's not fun to sit there and have triggers or sadness or hurt or these memories and deal with it. To deal with it isn't like to deal with a feeling is simply to allow it to exist, which sounds so simple in words, but it isn't so simple in actions, and it doesn't feel so great. But we have this fear around it. Like if we acknowledge it, it's going to take over. There's humor in that fear because the exact thing we're doing, the running away from and the trying to escape the feeling, is the only thing that literally handcuffs us and chains us to the feeling. Versus if we actually just existed with the feeling, a feeling dissipates. I'll prove it to you. When you have a frustrating day, right? At the end of a frustrating day, if you call a friend and you're like telling them how horrible the day was, and they say to you, "Ugh, that does sound like a horrible day." How do you feel after they said it? Does your frustration stay? Does it double down? Or does it alleviate simply by someone else validating and acknowledging what existed? We have this fear of these feelings, this fear that they'll overtake, but every time we run away from them, that's actually when they're overtaking. There's a whole science between feelings and suppressing feelings and disassociation and self-abandonment and autoimmune diseases. It's a fascinating connection. As someone who has both disassociated and, all of those abandoning feelings and has multiple autoimmune diseases, I came across this years ago and I was just dumbfounded at the correlation. It makes perfect sense. Your immune system is attacking itself. Self-mutilation is what an autoimmune disease is. It's a self-attack. It's abandoning oneself, with your body abandoning itself. Your body attacking. It makes anyway, it's another diatribe for another day, but like that component of, we feel like if we leave the feeling behind, if we run and we escape, it'll go away. But a feeling isn't something that you can flee from. It's a part of you. I spoke about this in, I think, my last podcast episode, where I was talking about how Marie Curie and the radioactivity is when a cell, an atom, is breaking apart and it creates energy, and that energy is destructive. That's radioactivity. Feelings, when not expressed, feelings when not acknowledged, create this radioactivity, this breakdown within ourselves. And we feel like we run away from them. We won't have to feel it, but we still have the ramifications of the feeling. It still exists within us, even if we don't sit with it. It still comes up in other circumstances. You've experienced this, facing triggers, having one situation that makes you feel something that you felt in a different time frame. We have these patterns of having a feeling and running away, and having a feeling and running away, and having a feeling and running away, and we keep these trenches. I'm gonna prove how silly it is, right? Silly, but like fair. Fair because we're taught it, fair because it's modeled to us, fair because it's uncomfortable to feel the feelings. But like, we don't acknowledge how silly it is in the way that we run away from ourselves versus if we just sat with ourselves, which is not, like I say, just sat, like it's a simple thing. And it is simple in words, but not simple in execution. To sit with yourself is uncomfortable. To sit with yourself is like self-discipline and not taking the path of default that we've had, which is to run away. Let's say, for example, that you are exhausted, right? And you're like talking to a friend and they're saying, you're saying how tired you are all the time, right? And they're like, I know you're tired all the time. And it's going to sound really difficult to do, but if you could take and just go on a walk a day. It doesn't have to be a lot of walking, right? But then you build up to exercising, right? That will actually help your body gain more energy, right? It feels like it's going to be more exhausting because you're having to move your body, but the exercise is proven scientifically to help you have more strength, right? And you sit there and you're like, okay, I get that. But I would get sore. If I worked out, I would get sore. Nah, I'm not going to do that because I can't live in being sore. The other person would be like, well, what are you talking about? Sure, if you work out, you might get sore for a little bit, but it'll pass because that's what happens. Because most things we experience don't reside and exist and just harbor. But we act like a feeling, if we sit with it, it's going to overtake. If we're sad and we just sit with ourselves in the sadness, if we just sit with ourselves in the hurt, and we just allow it to exist, we just cry with it, and we just say, you know what? Oh, that was hard. What'd you live through? They didn't take care of you. They didn't love you. You feel it. You allow it to exist. We act like it's going to permanently sit with us. We act like it's going to overtake our system and we'll never escape it. We act like it's this, it's like when you're swimming, we act like having an emotion is like you're going underwater and you're never allowed to come back up for air. We act like it's going to work out and your body will permanently be sore. It's not true. If you have a feeling and you allow yourself to sit with it, you allow yourself and give yourself the love and compassion to exist with it and acknowledge your experience and where you are, it dissipates. It's the freedom we want from the feeling. The escaping that we actually want from our feeling happens not from the running away from it, but by the turning to it and embracing it. We spend so much of our life running away from the experience we had because we don't want to have to deal with it, because it's sad, it's hard, it's not what we wanted, it isn't what we deserved, but we had it anyway, and we don't want to have to deal with it. And so we keep running all of this energy to outrun the experience that we already had because we don't want to have to feel what it was like. And that's fair. It's not fun. It is not fun what you live through. It is not fair. It is not fun. It is not good. The way you weren't cared for, the way you weren't loved, the way you were treated. It's not fair. None of that is fair. And the fact you have feelings in regards to that is completely fair, even if you don't like those feelings. But no matter how much we run, we're running on a treadmill. And it's right there. And as soon as you get off the treadmill, it's still going to be right there. If you get back on the treadmill, it's still going to be there. It's constantly behind you. The only way to actually get the escape that you're wanting from that feeling is to turn and face it. Because it's you. It's you. It's the you that was that age, that lived through that. That pain, that hurt, that mistreatment. It's you standing there behind you as you run away. You're on a treadmill trying to outrun yourself and the experience and the pain you felt. And I get it. Having done it, I get it. I get the uncomfortable. I get all of it. But the way to actually get away from the feeling is to embrace yourself. You lived through that. You did the part that's trying to run away, and you did the part that has the feeling and can't escape it. The only way to actually escape it, both the part that's stuck in the feeling and the part that's running away, is for the two of you to come back together. For you to sit with yourself. And there's going to be some discomfort. You're going to feel the feeling. And it's not always fun to feel the feeling. But it is good. It is good to acknowledge how you felt because of your experience. It is good to give yourself the company in that feeling. It is good to allow the tears to run or the anger to flow. It is good to experience your life with yourself, to make space for yourself, to be with yourself. That is good. That is beautiful. And it's uncomfortable. It's new, it's different. It's scary, because new and different is scary. But we've lived a life on default. We've lived a life running away. We've lived a life on perfection. We've done it. You're listening to this and you're doing this experience of trying to heal and grow because you've done that and you know it's not working. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay that you ran away. It's okay that you have the feeling and you don't want to face it. It's okay that you feel like you keep hitting your head against the wall. It's okay that you keep having to learn the same lesson. It's okay. This journey isn't about perfection. This journey isn't about only having good, quote, feelings. You want to know an upside to having a lot of trauma? Sometimes it can feel like there isn't an upside, but I'm going to give you a couple upsides. One, whether you like it or not, you're really strong. I know. It's the last thing people ever want to hear. You're resilient. You're strong. I get it. But you are. I'll prove it to you. Think about, 4 moments in your childhood. I bet all of them are terrible. You lived through them. You coped and dealt with. Automatically, your body protected you. Even if there are ways that you don't like and you're trying to undo now because they're coping mechanisms that aren't serving you now, they made you survive. Think about 5 experiences in your young adult life or teenage years. You've lived through a lot of things. And a lot of it's amazing. Your body is coping and dealing and finding the means to survive. And survival is fantastic because it got you to a place where you could choose something different. But we're now in the place of we don't want to just survive. And to get from survival to thrive means we have to get off of automated survival techniques. Running away from your feelings because you weren't allowed to have feelings, fair. Great tactic to survive. But in order to move from that survival to that thrive, to that peace, where you have a day where you have like this dream of whatever your life wants to look like, right? Whatever that career is, or that life goal, or that impact you're wanting to have, and you have this like dream day, right? Where your day unfolds, making the impact and catharsis and feelings you want to have in a day. That dream day, that you want it to be your stable, day in, day out. In order to get to a place where your dream day exists, whatever that is, you can't continue to live on the default. You can't continue to keep running away from yourself. Because a part of that thrive that you're looking for, it isn't the thing that's over there. Spoilers. That career, that relationship, that car, or trip, or experience, or child, or behavior. Those things that you see and think are outside of yourselves, all of them. If you ask yourself why you want that career, that trip, that behavior, that relationship, it's because of what it'll make you feel, what you think it will mean. The value you place, the equation to yourself, and how that relates. What you want, it isn't over there in any of those numbers of things. It's in here. It's in you. You already have, and I know it sounds catchy. I know it sounds like it's false. You already have what you want. And the only person who's capable of giving it to you is you. You want to feel loved? And I viscerally hate that you don't already know that you're loved. Lovable, worthy. I hate that you lived through experiences that made you feel that way. I don't care what your past is. I don't care how you treated other people. I hate that. I hate that. Because you're breathing, and therefore, you are lovable. But the only way for you to get to a place where you believe that isn't because of some relationship or certain job, or some behavior that's going to change, or some way that your child is or isn't, or if you have a child. You're going to start believing it when you start treating yourself that way. You're going to start believing it when you give it to yourself. You can see this in people who get in relationships, right? Or even yourself. Have you ever gotten that promotion that you were striving for, and then all of a sudden the goal became some other job or some other promotion? You got to that income level and then became the next income level. You got that behavioral change, and then all of a sudden you saw all these other behavioral changes you want to have. You got that child, and then all of a sudden it became how that child behaved or related to you. You got in that relationship, and it was great for a while, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. We can't fill the hole that's in us by something outside of us. We have to fill the hole that's in us by realizing there isn't a hole in the first place. You came into this world an adorable little kid, desperately needing and vying for affection, acceptance, exploration, curiosity. And at some point in that journey, you learned that those things had bounds, had strings, had ties. You learned what parts of you were okay to show and what parts of you were not. And in how other people reacted to you and treated you, you started carving away and quieting or reacting in some kind of way or fashion. to those truths that people are offering up to you like they're true. And you start to feel like there's this chasm in who you are as a person. You're broken, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you name it. There's a line, there's a phrase in your head, this feeling that repeats over and over and over again. You look out in the world and you have this confirmation bias that you feel that truth. I'm not worthy, I'm broken, I'm bad, whatever it is. And it creates this like feeling of this cavernous hole in you that doesn't actually exist. We feel like it does. And that feeling is true, real in that sense. But it isn't true in a factual sense. Most of the things that you really don't like about yourself are more than likely coping mechanisms to deal with pains. If you come back to yourself, if you start feeling your feelings and you start sitting with yourself and you start trying to find the pieces of who you might have been had you not parsed yourself away, had you not performed or reacted, you'll find there's a magic to who you are. I never wanted to have kids. I knew from a really young age I didn't want to have kids. I have kids, spoilers. And while I still hold true to my default self would not have had children, I learned a lot of things and have continued to learn a lot of things from my kids, and I'm grateful for those things. One of the biggest things that I learned is how easy it would have been to love me. I don't know if you have a kid, but if you don't have a kid, I can still say emphatically, if you were ever to have a child and it was a mini you, you wouldn't be hard to love. I have cared for and loved multiple children in my life, and they were mini versions of adults that I knew. Adults that didn't feel loved when they were little. And I see those kids, and they weren't hard to love. Oh, sure, they had their little things. But they weren't hard to love. You weren't hard to love. You were a flag, a reminder of pain points, a reminder of things that went wrong in that adult's life when they were a kid. And they didn't know how to deal with it. The reminders. But you weren't hard to love. You're a joy. So I challenge you. You want this life of thrive. You want this life where you wake up and have a dream. Dream day. And it feels like it's out of reach. It feels like it's over there. It feels like it can't be. I want to emphatically tell you that it can be. How can I say so? Obviously, I have so much that I have shattered, broken, etc. in my past. Pains that I've taken in, repeated patterns, all of that. I got a challenge. I have a journal. Can't remember what the name of the journal. I'll put it someplace, probably in the comments or something. I don't know. But in it has challenges. It has little quotes and things like that. And it said to write up your dream day. Right? What does your dream day look like? So I sat down and I thought about my dream day. Right? I already have it. My life doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look, I don't have lots of money. I don't have put together wardrobes. I don't have the things that people say that you should want and need. I have wrinkles on my forehead. I have health problems. But my life, my day-to-day, it could slightly adjust, and there'd be some things that I'd like to impact more, but as a collective whole, I have my dream day. What does my dream day look like? I have some things that I want, right? One, I have kids, whether I plan to have them originally or not. I have kids, and as a result of that, I want to be an involved, cared, invested, emotionally well-balanced and patient mother that helps my kids learn how to critically think and discover things for their world. I want to help them be able to research and find information and come to conclusions on their own. I don't want them to just swallow what I have to say. I want them to disagree with me, right? So I want to cultivate an environment of that. I do that. I invest every day in my kids, both in learning and playing. I love creating. I like to paint. I like to write poetry. I like to write fiction. I like to write nonfiction. I like to explore and express and communicate. And I like to make an impact. Big, small, I want to make an impact. Because I know I want to care for the people who are like me. I went through this journey, started it 4 years ago, and I looked around and I didn't see someone being real. I saw all these kitschy things being said, and there's truths to most of the kitschy things I heard. But they didn't talk about the hard. They didn't talk about what it was like. They didn't talk about the pains. They didn't talk about the triggers. I didn't see it. I didn't see somebody being real and raw. And so I wanted to show up, and I wanted to be the person who was honest, who made people feel less alone, because it can feel so alone. And if you feel alone, it's easier to give up on yourself because you've been alone for so long. And it's easy to be strong and distant. It's easy to be strong and unfeeling. It's easy to be strong and escaping. It's easy to be strong and busy and hustling. But it's not easy to be strong for yourself in the hard, in the feeling. I wake up every day and I have a slow start morning. I exist with my kids and I help them think and I help them process and explore and function in life. And I create and I connect. I create content. I have this platform to be able to communicate honestly and rawly about what it feels like to heal. I spend time every day writing or drawing or expressing. And I spend every day connecting back with myself, caring for myself. Sure, there are parts of my life that could be tweaked, but my day already looks pretty darn close to my dream day. Sure, I'd love to impact more people. Not because of some type of status with it, but because I want every person so deeply to know they are lovable, they are worthy, they are worth the effort and energy, and I want to be an explosive tsunami of passion and care out. Because I know there are too many people, I see it all the time, and people hating on each other and people blaming each other and the rage that exists, whether it's the authoritarian left or the right, and how they attack and dehumanize. All of that comes from a function of them feeling devalued in themselves and them looking for somebody else to attack because they are uncomfortable with their life and they're uncomfortable with how they feel. And I don't want that for them. I want to be a louder voice that can be heard because I desire, everything in me wants so desperately to be able to reach out and gently give affection with my words and my energy and my heart to the childhood self that didn't feel loved in each one of those people. Because that's where change happens with each individual. Learning how to give compassion and grace and love, that's where I see the world turning, life turning, them turning, passion turning. Anyway, all that to say that if I, as forked up as I know I am, can go from dysregulated, desperate, hustling, broken, shattered, unworthy feeling, a collapsing, depressed, wanting to die person that I was 4 years ago, to now, knowing definitively as I write out my dream day that I already live like 90% of that every day. I know you can have it too. And it isn't because I achieved some out there. I don't have some large amount of money coming in. I don't have some relationship other than with myself. I don't have some behavioral change. I still struggle with picking my fingers with anxiety. Some things adjust slowly over time, and that's okay. I don't have this there that I thought. I had all these theres that I wanted. I wanted to have a giant following. I wanted to have a large income because then I could take that income and I could invest it in charities and give back. Not because I wanted to have my life look very different, though I would take more trips. It isn't a there out there that I got. But I started slow, small, 1% changes. A shift here and a shift there. Being gentle and compassionate with myself when I wasn't completely consistent, but efforted towards consistency. And in those tiny shifts that were not over there, but in here with me, my life doesn't on paper look different, but my life looks so different. 4 years ago, I was so shattered. A shell. I live in the same house. I have the same number of kids. I have basically the same amount of income, if not less now. Actually, less now. On paper, my life doesn't look different, but I am different. So I can emphatically tell you that even if nothing outside of you changes, you can still have that there feeling you're wanting right where you are. I can say it because I live it. My life looks the same, but I'm not the same. I don't feel the same. I don't love the same. I don't experience the same. I have all the feelings in the spectrum. I have sadness and joy. I have depression and elation. I have stress and peace. I allow myself the encompassing spectrum of feeling. And another strength you have, because you've experienced so much strife in your life, is the extent of the pain and the sorrow and the stress you've experienced. You have opened yourself up to the spectrum of joy and peace and elation and ecstasy. The extent of devastation allows that spectrum to open up. You have this amazing gift because some people never have experienced the stress and tenuousness, so they can never fully appreciate and really see when they have peace. They've never experienced devastation, so when they're happy, all they are is happy and they don't see the elation. You have a gift that you didn't ask for, and it didn't feel like a gift. But the bright side of all that pain that you've experienced is you have the opportunity to feel such a wide spectrum of joy. All that stress and anxiety, it allows you to feel the depth of contentment, relaxation too. But to get to a place where you allow yourself with compassion and joy to experience all of it means you gotta stop running away from you. I know they ran away from you. I know you taught yourself how to run away from yourself because that was survival. There's no judgment for that. I'm proud of you for that. I hope you're proud of you for that. You are miraculous and worthy of the effort of changing it. Worthy of the effort of sitting in the uncomfortable. Worthy of the effort of embracing yourself in the pains and the experiences you live through. Sitting with you. Being with you. Like you would your best friend. Like you would your child. It's fair. It is so fair that you're hurt. It is so fair that you're angry. It is so fair that you're depressed. It is so fair that you're exhausted. It's fair. It is only reasonable, with everything you've lived through, that you feel the way you do. It's just now time to allow yourself to feel it. Really feel it. Because when we really feel it, we see where it is in our body that shows up in a color, tension in our shoulders, the back of our thigh, right above the knee, inside of our hip, the bottom of our heart, where we feel it in our body, where it resides, and we just sit with it. We give ourselves the company we would a friend or a child in the feeling. It's in that the power and the pain of that experience starts to dissipate. And it's a tangible, practical way for you to teach yourself, show yourself, prove to yourself that you're lovable, that you're worthy. And also, if you have a little bit of anger, also completely fair. It's a nice little flip off to the people who cause the pain, because you're showing them and you're proving them they're wrong. Maybe that's a good motivation for you to start off with. For me, motivation was, I knew that I had kids, and I knew that my kids would live out life how I lived out life. I couldn't do it for me. I couldn't care for myself that way. So I showed up and did things because I knew that in order for my kids to have a different life, in order for my kids to be the person I wanted them to be, for them to have the joy and the thrive and the going after the dreams, I had to be that person. That was my motivation at the start. And maybe that can be your motivation, or maybe your motivation can be, I am angry at the person who hurt me. The best comeuppance is to show you're worth it by showing up for you. They said you weren't. They were wrong. I'm going to sit with myself. I'm going to give to myself. I'm going to love myself in the ways that you decided you weren't capable of it. I am. I am capable of loving myself that way. I am capable of showing up that way. I'm not sure what your motivation needs to be to get you to do the things. But it's okay if it's not that you can have the motivation to love yourself because you're worthy of it. I couldn't do that either. Start where you are with what you can. We look for these like 40% and 80% and 90% changes. They're not the ones that actually make the difference. The things that make a difference are these 1% changes. These tiny shifts. These inconsequential things. It's like going back to the exercise thing. You want to go do something physical, you want to go work out and have the whole thing. It's not going to start by you going to the gym and being like, I'm going to take 4 hours and do the gym. It's putting on your shoes, your workout shoes and your workout clothes with the intention of working out even if you don't. It's putting them on and taking a 30-second walk. It's putting them on and doing 10 jumping jacks. It's tiny shifts that you try to do consistently with consistency that make a difference. I challenge you to feel your feelings. Start small. Start with just today. Start with just one feeling, just today. You're worth the effort and energy that it takes. All of it. If it took moving a mountain with sheer will, you're worth that.